Hi, Annette.
Hi, Kylie.
Welcome. Thank you for being here today. We're going to do a testimonial about the work that we did together. It's a big favor that you're doing for me because it really helps spread the word about the work that I do and just gives our audience insights about coaching and me and what I do, and it might inspire them to go down the same coaching path that you went down. So before we get into exactly what happened in the coaching process and what you got out of it, let's just start by introducing you and telling our audience a bit about who you are and what you do.
Thanks, Kylie. My name's Annette Guilfoyle. I work for a global renal dialysis company. I'm the managing director for the Australia and New Zealand businesses, and I'm based in Sydney. I've been in the health arena now for about 20 years or more. So I've worked in optics, in hearing, most recently in dental, and now I'm in renal. I did at one stage say that I wouldn't go below the neck, but now I'm into kidneys, so I have ventured below the neckline. And I'm very happy to be here today to talk to you about your coaching.
Thanks, Annette. And I must say, I've learned so much about the health industry and what you do in the time that we work together. So it's been a journey for me too. So just looking at my questions that I've got here. So the first thing I want to ask is, what is it that you wanted to achieve from coaching? And in other words, what were you thinking or hoping coaching would mean for your business and even your personal life?
I really felt that I'd reached a bit of a point of stagnation. So in my professional career, but also in my personal life, I'd reached a point where I was perfectly happy, but I wanted more. And I wanted to achieve more. And I felt that there were certain barriers that were preventing me from doing that. And I felt as though I needed some kind of a framework or a plan or something or someone to hold me accountable to do it. Mm-hmm. And I'd reached a point of, I was in a bit of a comfort zone, and it was great, but I wanted more, essentially.
Yeah. Did you have any resistance to coaching? I mean, you knew what coaching was, but was there anything you think getting in your way that might have prevented you from doing coaching?
I think I hadn't had coaching before I was with you, so it was a new experience for me and a new concept. I had no resistance to it whatsoever. I was quite prepared to put in the hours and the time and the effort. The biggest issue for me was the cost, and how was I going to get over, commit to putting so much money aside per month or whatever to do the coaching. So that was really the only barrier. And I overcame that by just committing to a set period of time and a set number of sessions, on the understanding also that it takes a few sessions to get traction. I'm not going to suddenly experience massive change overnight. So I committed to a limited number of sessions and said to myself, I'll give that a go, and if it works, great, and if it doesn't, I can cut it off there.
Yeah.
And as you know, I was hooked.
Lucky me. I guess it becomes, I mean, I can totally relate. When I look into programs that I'm investing myself in my personal development, cost is always a big factor for me as well. So you're looking for that evidence that the cost is going to be outweighed by the value that you get. So yes,
exactly.
Glad you got hooked.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting hooked, let's talk about what was it that hooked you in. If you were to maybe narrow it down to the top 3 things that made coaching worth the investment, what would you say?
Yeah, well, the first thing for me was I went into it with a view of for professional development, really not on a personal level. But what I found as I went along was that the personal gains that I got out of it in my personal relationships were as big, or if not greater, than what I got out from a professional perspective. So and I think the 3 big things I got out of it, it's really hard to define just 3 things, but the first for me was being able to define and commit to my personal values, which now guide me in everything that I do. And the process that we went through to get that, working with the winners manual that we set up together was really really fabulous. The second one is learning to become more assertive. So I had some feedback in my career that I wasn't being assertive enough in the workplace, and I didn't want to believe that. I didn't believe that. And at one stage, I remember saying to my boss, you talk to my husband, he'll tell you how assertive I am. But what I came to realize was that although I thought I was being assertive, I was actually avoiding a lot of things, and I was sitting quietly in meetings instead of speaking up, and it's basic stuff. And now I look back on it, because that's quite some years ago now, I look back on it and think, wow, I could have had such an impact if I'd learned these lessons earlier. So that was the second one. And the last one, and probably the most profound one for me, was understanding that I can't control other people and what they do, that I can only control myself and how I respond to situations, and being able to or learning to love what is, and accept situations and people for what and who they are, and learning to be the best version of myself that I possibly could in all situations. And that's the one that probably affected me most profoundly.
Yeah.
The one learnings. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's fantastic. And I was just hearing you talk about it is like taking me back to the time when we were doing that together. It was such an enjoyable journey for me being on that with you. So yeah, fantastic, Annette. Is there anything else you want to add about the coaching experience?
I think it's really important that you find a coach that you can relate to. And I think I was really lucky in getting you as my first coach, because I really had a great relationship with you. We developed a great trust, and eventually, we became friends, which has been fabulous. I think that they obviously need to be qualified, but it's not just about having a certificate. In fact, it's probably more about having the life experience. And I found what was, you had all of that for me, but what was most impressive for me was your sense of intuition and your ability to really delve deep into the issues and really draw out what was at the basis of them, and ask me the questions. And I had so many light bulb moments with you where I would be struggling with something, and I'd say, and you'd say, well, what about this? And you'd ask the questions, and I'd suddenly think, well, of course. It was so obvious, and yet I hadn't realized. Your ability to really do that, to dig deep and find out, get to the crux of the matter, is really unique, I think, and really, it's a great talent that you have, and it's the one talent that you have that really helped me to achieve what I've achieved since we've been having the coaching.
Thank you. I'm really moved by that, Annette. And I think I do have a skill in intuition, but it's something that I took for granted. Like I just thought, well, everybody has that. And through your feedback, I start to learn, actually, that is one of my strengths. And it's probably no surprise that intuition is one of the key concepts in my second book, which I'm currently working on. So making the most of that skill. Thank you. One last question I've got here is, who would you recommend coaching to and why?
I think anyone who, like me, has come to that point in their life where they want more, where they feel that they've got so much more to gain, but they're not quite sure how to go about it, or anybody who needs some structure and some being held accountable for something, and whether it's something that they want to achieve, if they've got a great goal that they want to achieve, and they're struggling just to get on that path or to maintain the momentum to achieve that goal. Because what you would do as a coach is really, help develop that path, develop a plan, and implement that plan and hold them accountable to that plan. So I think anyone who wants to develop or grow further, whether it be in their career or in their personal life, or both.
Great. Thank you so much. You've just really done me a huge service by being here today and sharing all of your insights. It's fantastic. Really appreciate it.